Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Hey everyone, it's Ben Coomber Radio, podcast number 117. Now, if any of you saw my Facebook post the other day, I had a lot of trouble recording with Rachel because, I don't know, Christmas internet or something. Who knows? We just couldn't get a good signal, so we couldn't record. So I've decided to do two 100% solo shows. So this is just going to be me and the microphone, and the next show, 118, is going to be a solo show as well. And I suppose it gives me a little opportunity to address some things I might not usually get to on the show. I'm going to rewind the show in a bit more of a basic fashion on some level to help people maybe circumnavigate some stuff they feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. There's probably a lot of people that discover the show and think, oh, you know, the show's great, I enjoy it, and they just kind of smash through all the episodes. You know, they go from, there's 117 episodes now, so they go from 1 to 117 in quite quick succession. And a lot of the time, if you embark on a journey and a process with something like you might have done with this podcast over the years, it's probably a lot easier to change and make these implementations because you've gradually done it over a period of time, right? You've kind of taken one or two bits of advice and you've gone, right, I am going to apply that in my surroundings. I'm going to go and make that change, and I'm going to see what the benefit was. Now, if you went through the whole of the podcast and just rattled through them, you probably have been quite overwhelmed by the information. And this is probably a huge problem with diet culture in general and looking at change, is that people do feel overwhelmed. And if you're a coach listening to this, there's a lot of personal trainers that listen to this podcast, or whether you're an individual who is considering and looking at change is tough sometimes when you are looking at what you feel is a lot to change. But, you know, sometimes there's no real easy advice to say that change has to happen for you, and, you know, making small steps is the best thing to do. Now, the diet and fitness industry is incredible at overwhelming people because we are bombarded all the time, especially on places like Facebook and stuff, Instagram, of people that have made radical changes. Like, I've had clients that have made amazing results, and it might have been, let's say, in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it might be. And, you know, if you're an individual that's looking at a lot of change, you're going to become very intimidated by the other people that have made this kind of change. You know, you might see a client of someone's and go, wow, you know, they did all that in 6 months. You know, I could never do that, especially if you're trying to embark on this process on your own. And that's probably an important point. Like, if you feel you can't go on your journey by yourselves, you need to ask for help. And you need to ask for help from a friend, from someone close, or bite the bullet and hire a coach. I know a lot of people want to try and diet and do things as much as they can by themselves because it saves them money. I get that. But this is probably the most important investment you could possibly make in your life. And that is the investment in your health. To actually learn what constitutes health, energy, well-being, good sleep, training, feeling good, and getting the most out of your body. And I think this is probably one reason I'm so passionate about the fitness industry and why I changed industries and got into it is, yeah, I had my own journey, and that journey was profound, and it made me want to inspire other people with that journey. But I 100% believe that success in all other areas of your life comes from a foundation of health and understanding what it takes to, or what it feels like to feel amazing. You know, I use this word awesome all the time, and I wholeheartedly believe that if I can make you feel awesome, everything else in your life will be so much easier. And whatever goal it is you want to tackle, whether it's in business, family, life, sport, you know, things become a hell of a lot easier when you're energized every day, when you sleep brilliantly, when you're eating food that makes you feel good, when you feel good in your surrounding, when you feel good in your clothes, when you feel good when you look at yourself naked. And all of these things are really powerful things. And if not, it can make you pretty unhappy. And this is why change can be tough, because people get into, a very unhappy state. They look at the journey that they've got to embark. They're standing at the bottom of the mountain and they're thinking, God, wow, this mountain is huge. I don't know where to start. And I suppose this is going to be the angle of this podcast, in that what happens when you're standing at the bottom of this mountain? Where do you start from? The second podcast I'm going to do, 118, is going to be a bit more on kind of personal goals, a little bit about what I'm maybe trying to achieve in 2015, a little bit of psychology. But this podcast is going to be dedicated really to people that are looking at a big mountain to climb. I think there is a good handful of people listening to this podcast that have listened to them all and still maybe haven't made the changes that they want to make. Now, before I get into any more content in this podcast, I want to make a request, in that if you've been listening to this podcast for quite a while and this podcast has helped you, so you've been listening, you've made changes, you're happy, and the change doesn't have to be, just in body fat. In fitness, we always look at like body fat, I'm making the change to lose weight. It doesn't have to just be that change. It can be changing your sleep. It can be changing a symptom. You could have sorted your gut health out, your immune health out. You could have sorted a problem. You could have reversed diabetes. You could have run 100 meters in 10 seconds and you haven't been able to previously. I don't know. Whatever that change is, I want you guys to help me inspire other people. So throughout the month of January, I'm going to profile people on my Facebook fan page that have made these changes. So I've already collected a handful of these people, and what I'm going to be doing on Facebook is showing a picture of your before and after, and then the story. So if you would like to share your story with other people, if you would like to inspire other people to make and start on this mountain that is change, please email me. So email your photo, a before and after, side by side, or you can send the photos to me individually and I'll crop them and put them side by side if you're not sure how to do that. And send it to me at bencoomber@gmail.com with the subject line January transformation. And I will show these online over the course of January. And your story will get heard, and hopefully you'll feel proud by it being profiled on my Facebook page and other people seeing it and other people saying, wow, what a change you've made, it's amazing. So if you've been touched by my information, whether it's been a seminar or a podcast or anything like that, please send that into the podcast and allow me to help other people be stimulated by that change and by your story. So the bulk of this podcast, right? So I put a shout out on Facebook and said, hey, what do you guys want to hear? And there was two key trends that I saw in the questions that people wanted answered. And one thing is about where do you kind of start? So some of these questions will kind of repeat themselves, but I will tackle them from different angles in the way that these questions are worded. So Liz Jones asked a question, starting out, if you've got a lot to lose, it can be quite intimidating. What are some just basic pointers to start on the diet and fitness journey? Now, great question, right? Where do you start if you're the person that I've been talking about? You're sat and you just have no idea where to start or what to do. The important thing is, I think you make an assessment of where you are right now. So you be 100% honest with yourself, and it has to be an honest moment. I call this a Pinocchio moment when I teach my seminars, especially about stress, which I think is something people need to be very honest about, because we're not tackling the root causes of our stress. But anyway, you need to sit down and you basically need to take stock. So you need to take some photos. You need to weigh yourself. You need to write down your symptoms. You need to say, right, my sleep is poor. I'm not sleeping properly. I don't sleep through the night. Or I don't feel fit, or I've got tight muscles here. You basically need to write all this stuff down, and you need to not be overwhelmed by it. it's very easy to sit there and go, oh my God, I've got to sort out my sleep, I've got to sort out my weight, I've got to sort out my diet. Yes, you might have a lot to change, but the important thing is you need to take stock and understand what needs to change. And I don't really know, I'll be honest, how to empower you with a bigger sense of inner strength, but you need to find, and this is probably the answer, so I maybe do know how to tell you, but you need to find a reason why. So before you embark on this change, it needs to be more than, oh, I want to change because I want to lose weight, I want to sleep better. It's not really a powerful reason, right? When I went on my weight loss journey, I simply had in the back of my head is that I don't want to be that fat guy no more. I don't want to be slow running around the rugby pitch. I don't want to feel uncomfortable in my clothes. I don't want to feel disgusted at myself when I look in the mirror. I don't want to feel sad. I want to be happy in my environment. I want to look good. I want to feel good. And also, and I was a young man when I embarked on this challenge, is I wanted to be physically attractive to the opposite sex. I wanted a good looking girlfriend. I wanted to be successful in that area of my lifestyle. And it's probably an area I wasn't successful in previously, and that's a really powerful reason to change, because we all want a mate, a girlfriend, a soulmate that we are 100% happy with, we feel sexually attracted to, and it's really important. So you need to sit down, you need to take stock, you need to write all this stuff down, and you need to just pinpoint the things that you think are the easiest things to change right now, because we just need to stimulate some change. So the biggest thing, for example, with a diet is you may be writing a diet diary alongside this information that you're writing down all these variables on, and saying, right, the key thing is, if I want to lose weight, is the chances are I need to eat less. So you need to say to yourself, well, how am I going to eat less? Am I going to make a dedicated or just a basic physical awareness of what I eat right now and say, right, I'm going to eat 20% less, 30% less? Or am I going to eat, this is a good way to do it sometimes, I'm going to eat so that I often just feel a bit hungry throughout the day. Often when you're on a diet, you feel hungry a little bit quite often, as in you're just not quite getting enough, and that's obviously quite a basic sign that you're not feeding your body enough for its basic metabolic requirements. Or you can start calorie counting, right? At some point, if you don't understand food, you're going to have to calorie count. It's a bit tedious. It takes a while to understand, to use the app that you might need to use to start weighing food, but it's an essential process. Like, if you don't know what is in food, you need to learn. Otherwise, you'll never really know what to eat for normal body weight, for normal calorie intake. Like, for example, a lot of the meals that I eat are around 700 calories. I have a really good idea of what 700 calories looks like on a plate, and you need to work that information out. If you need to eat 4 meals a day at 500 calories, you need to start to understand what 500 calories looks like on a plate, whether it's chicken on the plate, or vegetables, or rice, or pasta, or bread, or cereals, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the food is, you need to understand and work out what that food is and its calorie content, so you can be empowered by that. So food is obviously a big one. If you're embarking on a change, food needs to be a big one. Then you need to maybe look at the lifestyle input, and you need to start saying, right, well, I need to get better quality sleep. I need to turn off the telly when it's 10 o'clock at night, and I need to wind down, and I need to get into bed. I'm not really drinking enough, so I'll start carrying a water bottle around with me. I have a sweet tooth, but I need to find a better alternative for my sweet tooth. So instead of having cake or biscuits or something really sweet, I'm gonna have a low fat flavored yogurt, something that just circumnavigates the problems in your lifestyle that are leading to maybe being overweight or tired or not sleeping properly. I don't want you to think in perfect outcomes. I could sit here and devise you a diet that is perfect, but you just need to make the changes that are right for you and the things that really need to change right here and now. I don't want to say to you, oh, you shouldn't be eating cake, cut cake out completely, you just need to eat this and that's it. if eating a low-fat strawberry yogurt is going to be a better option than you choosing cake or biscuits or whatever, then brilliant. That is what I see as a positive step forward. I'm not bothered that it's an ideal step forward. We can change that in the future. But when it becomes to big change, making small changes one step at a time can be the perfect answer. You just need to do something. You just need to stimulate the progress. Because when we get some kind of progress, we get empowered, right? When I was on my weight loss journey, initially I was losing weight really slowly. I lost like 5 pounds in 5 months. Now, when I decided to really mix it up and I forced myself to go and seek some, proper professional advice from a trainer at a different gym, that was when the weight started to peel off me. I got some really good advice. Now, I started to lose weight rapidly. I lost 4 stone in 4 months. Now, the beauty of that is that inspired me really quickly to do more. So we need to find a way fairly quickly to make you start losing weight, because if you start losing weight, you'll be inspired to keep going. If you start making changes and you don't lose any weight or you don't see any positive change, you're not going to do it, right? I lost 4 stone in 4 months. That was radical. I was like, wow, this health and fitness stuff is amazing. And I just carried on. My why was almost irrelevant, because I was being so successful at the weight loss and feeling good and looking better that I just kept making the right changes. I kept reading more. I kept applying different theories and results. So the diet for me is one of the biggest parts of this picture, because as soon as I start getting results with you, you will carry on. You will be inspired to keep doing more and keep going. So just start making some basic changes. Take stock, write things down, work out where your starting point is, have the inner strength to not be scared or overwhelmed at the mountain that you have to climb, and just go for it. Make 2 or 3 changes on week 1, especially the diet, and just go for it. And then when you're ready and you have got the capacity to make more changes, just make another change, and if you're a coach listening to this, maybe bear in mind how you can apply this to some of your clients. We're all really good at, a client coming in the door and we change loads. We're like, right, let's get you in the gym 3 or 4 days a week. Let's change your diet. Here's a diet program. And, some people can handle radical change. I, for example, if a coach came along and said, Ben, I'm going to change your diet and your training and do all this, I can handle that. My mindset is ready for radical change. But a lot of people, especially when we're talking about big change, cannot handle radical change at once. We need to implement slow stuff. We need to implement important stuff and just build it as we go along. So the second question that I got on Facebook along this thought process is, Ewan Kearney said, setting precedents for beginners wanting to diet, e.g. what's really important and what's not worth worrying about just yet. So what's really important in the diet process? Now, this is similar to another question I had about where and how to begin to create your own nutrition plan by, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, Eni Asadi. Now, when it comes to the basics of nutrition, one thing we can all agree on, and hopefully all coaches out there can agree on, is that protein in the weight loss battle is really important. So getting a basic protein requirement, I would say for women, a basic of about 1.4 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Men, a little bit higher, about 1.6 to 1.8. People that are really active, I'm looking more at 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Yeah, so you are going to have to sit down, you're going to have to work out your body weight, you're going to have to find out how that translate into, chicken breasts and beef and eggs and stuff. What does it physically, visually mean? How many chicken and eggs portions should I be eating throughout the day? So that's the key thing. If you look at the research literature, it's really important that we get basic protein levels up, and protein is highly satiating. It fills you up, and it's also thermogenic, so the energy that it costs to break down is also very high, so it can have a good effect on weight loss. And that's the most important thing right from the get-go with a diet. And then after that, we have to bear in mind health, right? We have to say to ourselves, it's really important that I eat as much whole natural, one ingredient food as possible. And if you're embarking on big change, which is what we're talking about today, big change, it's probably not gonna, you're not gonna change your diet to be whole one ingredient foods completely from the get-go. That would be a big change, especially if you're eating a lot of processed foods, junk foods, etc. So move to a 60% whole natural food diet, because you're gravitating again away from a load of the bad stuff and bringing on more good stuff. And then when you start to get a hang of better cooking, your skills improve in the kitchen, then you can bring on a higher percentage one ingredient food diet. Now, for the most part, most people need to be on at least, I'd say, an 85 to 90% whole foods diet. That 10, maybe 15% is going to be the times when we fancy a little bit of what we want, we go out with our friends, we're creating a little bit of flexibility for ourselves to enjoy a life of good food. But it can't be like that all the time. That is non-optimal. A high percentage of one ingredient foods is going to lead to optimal health. It's going to make sure we get enough fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, all these things that are going to make you feel amazing. One thing people always say to me when they embark on a vegetarian or a vegan diet is that short term they feel amazing. And for me, the root cause of this is because they go into a diet that focuses massively on nutrient density. They might start juicing, making soups, things that have loads of veggies in it, and all of a sudden they're getting this massive hit of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, fiber that their body's been lacking for such a long period of time. So getting that is really important. So we talked about protein, we talked about nutrient density from whole ingredient foods, and then you need to play about with your diet. You need to find out if carbs make you feel good or fat make you feel good in terms of energy metabolism. So take 3 meals. Take a meal that's high carb. Remember, we've always got our minimum protein intake sat on this plate. So take a meal that's high carb, take a meal that's low carb, and then take a meal that is in the middle. And then eat them a lunch. So eat one meal on a lunch on Monday, one on a Tuesday, one on a Wednesday, and jot down how you felt 2, 3, 4 hours after that meal. Were you energized? Did you feel satiated? Did you feel tired? And you need to find out which meal was closest. There's going to be people that function very well on a high carb diet, people that function well on a medium carb diet, and people that function well on a low carb diet. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what is right for you as an individual in terms of energy metabolism. And the reason why we need to get this right is we need to make you feel good. If you're eating a diet that makes you feel rubbish, you're not energized, you're not feeling awesome as I describe it, then it's not going to inspire you to keep going. People embark on diets and they don't feel good, they feel deprived, they feel low in energy, their libido drops. That is a great way to set yourself up for diet failure, by not setting up a diet that makes you feel good. So that is really important. And then obviously hydration is very important. So we've got basic protein requirements, we've got energy density, we've then got working out what makes you feel good in terms of protein and carbohydrate density, and then hydration. And they're really the basics of nutrition. And then after that, we obviously, once you've got to grips with that, I want you to go on a journey of counting calories and macronutrients and finding out what's in food, because at some point you're going to have to learn the amount of nutrients your body needs to function optimally. So whether you're on a weight loss, a maintenance, or a weight gain journey, in this case we're probably talking about weight loss because we're talking about big change. How many calories should you be on safely to lose weight? If you're a man, your BMR, I would usually calculate a rough starting point at 24 times your BMR, and for females 22 times your BMR. So take your weight in kilos, times it by either 22 or 24, and that's going to be your basic energy requirements. And for most people embarking on big change, I would probably eat that amount. And then if you're exercising, let's say 2-3 times a week, and then you're walking about, that will create a natural calorie deficit of around 10%. Because at the moment, if I make you eat to your basic metabolic requirements, you are eating what you should need to maintain your weight sat still. But if I make you exercise, then that should create the calorie deficit. So if we eat to our BMR and then just exercise a little bit, then we should be okay. If you're an individual that's embarking on big change and you want to exercise more, you might be in the gym 4 or 5 times a week training with a bit more intensity, then that calorie intake needs to be higher. A diet is more sustainable with a gradual weight loss. So either way, you need to be in a calorie deficit, I would say, of probably around 10%. If you've got an awful lot to lose, let's say, you are a big guy or a big girl, you can go on to a greater calorie deficit of around 15, maybe even 20%. If you wanted to increase the rate of your weight loss, and then as you get leaner, that calorie deficit, or if you are leaner, that calorie deficit needs to be a bit smaller because you have a greater risk of losing more muscle mass. So hopefully that's helped. So sit down, take stock, and work out a strategy. Work out a basic strategy of how you're going to implement some changes to set up your diet and create a nutrition plan. Now, if you're embarking on getting a coach, if you are listening to this information and you just want help, you just don't want to do it by yourself, you want to get a good coach, then do that. I think it's a real good investment. I am obviously going to promote the work of my coaches that I have on my team as part of bodytypenutrition.co.uk. So if you logged on to Bodytype Nutrition, there is a whole list of coaches there that are fantastic. They've been taught by me. They are amazing. They all have got their own little niches depending on where you're starting out from. We've got 2 female specific coaches for the ladies out there. I'm going to recommend my coaches. I think we do things ethically. I think we do things right, and we can build people a great nutrition plan and coach them through the process. So, get a coach if you feel that this journey is one that you don't want to do by yourself. You want to be helped, you want to get inspiration, you want to have support, you want to have a bit of motivation, then by all means do that. And the reason why I bring up coaching is on the thread that I asked on Facebook, an ex-client of mine asked a question, and he asked the question in jest, but I think it's kind of important. So a past client of mine, Will Perrett, he said, "Why was I the best client ever?" Now this is quite cool because if you're embarking on getting a coach, you need to be ready. However good the coach is, if you're not ready to change, then that coach cannot really help. It's all about your mindset in this journey, and this is why I'm trying to set you up with a few tools, because hopefully it will help get your mindset right. You need to be ready. So you need to go to the coach. You need to be prepared to listen and implement what the coach is going to tell you. You need to be ready to make changes in your lifestyle. You need to be prepared to maybe spend a bit more money on food. You need to be prepared to make time for exercise. Be prepared to make time for food preparation. Be prepared to maybe change some of your lifestyle habits in terms of maybe not going out quite as much, not having as many late nights, not drinking or eating certain things. You need to be ready for that. If you're sat there going, "Oh, I'm not willing to give up X, Y, and Z," then you're not ready to be coached, and you're probably not even ready to change. Big change needs to come from within. You need to be ready and accepting of the things that need to be done for you to take you on your journey. And then, obviously, listen to what your coach says and do it, and feel empowered by the information and embark on the journey, embrace it. If you've got a lot to lose, the weight loss is maybe going to take a year, depending on how much you got to lose. And that's just the way it is. We can't sugarcoat that anymore. If you have got a lot of weight to lose, it's going to take a while. If you want to look like that cover model guy, it's going to take a few more years. You're going to have to be in the gym. You're going to have to be sculpting some muscle. So all these things take time, and you've just got to embrace that. There's no other kind of shortcut for me to say, this is how you're going to do it. And I mention this is because Paul Nesbitt said, "Mindset to believe in the process when progress is slower than expected, when you're either gaining or losing weight." Now, the key thing that Paul says in this comment, when we're looking at change here, is progress. If you've got progress, then that is progress. The problem is coming back to these images that we see on Facebook and Instagram and that kind of thing. We see these before and afters, and it kind of feels like their progress was instant, right? It does. You know, you look at that progress and go, oh my God, you know, it was easy for them. It didn't take that long a period of time. It did take long. You know, they did have to go through the heartache. They did have to go through the changes. But if they made progress, then they're making progress. It's as simple as that. And that's what you're looking for. If you're doing all these things and you're not getting progress, then you need to take stock. You need to make the changes. You need to sit down. You need to be critical. And if you're not sure where you're going wrong, then you need to look for an external source to give you the advice of where you're getting wrong, or going wrong, sorry. So if you're making progress, it's still progress. Slow progress is progress. Are there some things that you can do to maybe speed up that progress? Maybe. I cannot really help you with that. But again, this all comes from being reflective and taking stock. If you're making progress at a rate you're not happy with, you need to sit down and you need to write down all the variables. You need to say, right, I'm eating this, I'm sleeping here, I'm training here, I'm drinking this. And if you see holes where there are things that are non-optimal and you're sitting there and you're not happy with your rate of progress and your rate of change, then you have to change those weak areas. Whether it's you're staying up too late, you're not eating enough real food, you're not controlling your calorie intake, you're not eating enough protein, whatever it might be, you need to be honest and self-critical and sit down and say, right, that is maybe a reason why I'm not getting the progress that I want in my change journey. So I really do hope this episode has been useful, and there's going to be a huge amount of people that are listening to this show that have maybe picked up one or two bits, but because they've embarked on this journey with me, this show might not be as relevant to you, and hopefully you've listened to the end of the show. But I think another purpose for this show is, you know, people always ask me, Ben, if you can recommend one episode of your show to someone that is a complete beginner or a complete newbie, which episode would you recommend? And I suppose this is what I'm doing. You know, if you're a personal trainer out there, or if you're someone that's been on this journey and you want to help inspire someone to make the change when they've got a lot to change or they're a little bit scared about the journey, recommend them podcast 117. Recommend them this podcast. Say, do you know what? Ben's got loads of shows, you know, the other shows could be a little bit of gobbledygook to you right now. Listen to show 117 and then digest that and then go back to the beginning and start from there. Or maybe digest 117 and maybe 118, because I'm going to talk about change a little bit more in a different way, and then go back to the beginning. So let's use this show to help inspire other people on their journey of change. So if you've listened to this show, please share it with someone that you think is a little bit scared about their change. Maybe send this to your clients. Maybe you run in a boot camp, send it to them. Maybe you do online coaching, send it to them. Maybe you've got followers on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you've got friends and family and you want to inspire them to change. Send them this podcast. It's going to help inspire them, and then they'll ask you or ask someone else or be inspired by that environment to embark on another level of change. We need to start empowering more people with information at different levels. So while I might have talked about some more advanced stuff on podcasts previous, hopefully this will take things back to basics for a whole load of people that need it. So if you have been inspired by this podcast, please share your transformation journey, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, with me. Send it to bencoomber@gmail.com with the subject line January Transformation, and I will set you up to be part of this journey with other people. If you've enjoyed the show, please do me the great honour of sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your chosen platform is. And if you've got someone that needs help with big change, share this show with them. You know, help people. Let's help people. This is what free information should be about, helping other people. This show's been recorded on Christmas Day. For people on Christmas Day, it is a Thursday. The show should go up as normal. Happy Christmas. I hope you had a wonderful time. If you've listened to this after Christmas, I hope you've enjoyed time with your loved ones. You've had time to reflect, take some downtime, have a good drink, enjoy your roast dinner. I will see you on podcast 118. It will be me and the microphone again. I've hoped you've enjoyed this show. If you've enjoyed this show, show me some love on social media. Hit like on Facebook. Tweet me back saying, Ben, I love the show. I didn't like the show. You know, I always like feedback. Happy Christmas, everyone. Take care. See you on the next show. Goodbye. Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 116, I think. I'll be honest, I've been getting my knickers in a twist recently with shows and trying to get organised before Christmas, because I'm trying to get loads of shows in so you have lots of amazing content